to Anuradha Vedic Astrology. Today, on the request of Ami Gandhi, we are going to make a video on teaching as a profession. Thank you, Ami Gandhi, for your suggestion. But before we move ahead, big thanks to all of you for liking, sharing, subscribing our YouTube and Spotify channels and writing in your suggestions and your comments there. If you haven't subscribed to our videos and audios, please do. And don't forget to press the bell icon so that you can get the updates as soon as the videos and audios are released. So we are moving on to the teaching profession. Teaching is said to be one of the most noblest of professions, and it requires the benefits to be extremely active in a person's chart to be able to teach, because it also requires a lot of compassion, a lot of giving, and a lot of patience. So let us see the planets, the houses, signs, and those interested in nakshatras. What are those elements that are required for a person to be a good teacher? And to be able to earn from the teaching profession, we also do need to see if one can take up teaching as a career. So we need to see the D10 also for the person. Let's get going for teaching as a profession. For teaching as a profession, the signs that one needs to consider first and foremost is Taurus. Why Taurus? If you are not learned enough, if you don't know things enough, can you teach? So Taurus is a sign which talks about our education, our value system. It also talks about our learning abilities. So if Taurus is strong in the chart, it gives one a lot of learning. Gemini is all about communication skills. When can we show great communication skills? When we have something to communicate, that means we are learned enough. And when we can be creative enough to explain one same thing in different ways to different people. So Gemini is also important. We also need to have a strong Cancer sign. I'd like to add on here, Cancer shows compassion. It shows a motherly attitude, but it also shows a primary education. When we are strong in any subject that we are wanting to teach, and we have a connect with the resources, with people, the masses. When I am a teacher, I would need to teach to a number of people. So if I don't have a strong Cancer, I probably will not be able to teach well. So a strong Cancer sign is important when we are in the profession of teaching. The fourth sign that I take is Leo. Why is Leo important? Yes, these are one after the other, but we'll also come for the Sagittarius. Leo shows students. A teacher cannot be a teacher without students. And we need to take up the sign of Sagittarius also, because it shows the teacher in our chart. It shows the mentor. It also shows our capability of being a teacher. So these four signs must have the planets that are coming up. But before that, if you are a giver, then or if you have a strong way to do service, then your 12th house should also be important, or the Pisces should also show certain abilities. So when we are talking about the houses, the second house, because it's the house of learning, it is the house of your principles. How strong are you on your principles? How strong are you on your learning? To be able to reflect it in your third house of speaking, communication skills, and creativity. As I said, your creativity is important because you need to convey the same thing to different batches of students in different manners. So that's important. And it's also your language. So that's also important. Then we also find the fifth house. The fifth house is our intelligence. The fifth house is our ability to stand on a podium and give our best. And if the fifth house is strong, then you can become a celebrity, an important person by way of your speech, by way of your writing and your teachings, because the fifth house shows celebrity status. And there are many teachers around the world who will have a strong fifth house, saying that they are reputed for being the teachers who they are. Then we also come across the ninth house. The ninth house shows teaching abilities. It gives a person a constant, strong urge to go around, keep doing research, try finding new and new things, and putting them forward in front of the students and being a judicial teacher at that. Now let's come to the planets. The first planet is Mercury. Mercury is your power of retention. Mercury is your power of learning. Mercury is a power of communication, and Mercury is also intelligence. Because if Mercury is strong in a person's chart, then the person knows how to learn and in return, how to communicate it to others. It also, if it is strong in the 8th house, it gives you a great ability for doing a lot of research. Then we have Jupiter. Jupiter is the Dev Guru. Jupiter is the quintessential teacher. It is the benefic, which talks about accepting the right kind of students and taking them forward. And it also shows a lot of principal values. Finally, we have Venus. Why is Venus important? Because Venus, we know, is the Daitya Guru. Not only that, Venus has a lot more compassion than any other planet, a lot more patience. Let's not forget, Venus gets exalted in the 12th house of the natural zodiac, which is all about giving. So as a teacher, you or I cannot hold back things. We need to be able to give freely. A good placement of Venus in the chart, in the D10 also, because we need to see the profession of the person also and connect it with the D1. So a good D10 and a D1 placement of the Venus gives a person a strong profession as a teacher. For those who are interested in the Nakshatras, and it's important to connect to them also. The planets, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter, if they have a strong say in Bharani, Pushya, Uttara Falguni, Anuradha, or for that matter, Purvashada, Uttara Bhadra, and Revati. These will show very different nature of how a person teaches, and that's going a little into the depth, which are always done in the nakshatra classes. So these are the nakshatras that are very important when we are talking about the teaching professions. Okay, and when we find the connect of, say, Sun, then we know that the person is very principled. We know that the person is strong in their views and authoritative as a teacher. When we find a Jupiter Sun connect, then we know that the person would be doing a good job as a teacher, but extremely authoritative. That person will have a say and a commanding personality as a teacher. If there's a Mars and Jupiter connect that we see in the chart, then we can tell that the person will be using a lot of logic to explain things to the students. If I find that there's a Saturn Jupiter connect or a Saturn Venus connect, I'll say the person would be making a good deal of money in the profession, but also will be hardworking and giving as a teacher. So not just these 3 planets, these are the basic planets that are required. Their combinations can yield different kind of results. That is something we should never forget. And we need to take up examples as usual, because we need to see how much of it is working in the charts. So the first chart that I take up is of a teacher who has been working in this profession for more than 40 years and has made a good job of it. So she, as we see, has a Lagna in the 10th house of the natural zodiac, talking about that, yes, it's something that can take up a profession. When I talk to you about the nakshatras, yes, let's check out her nakshatra in Lagna nakshatra is Shravana. Her moon is placed in Cancer. So we'll go by the signs. Her moon is placed in Cancer. Jupiter is placed in the sign of Leo. And she has in the 5th house, Ketu in Taurus. That means it's something that she's inherited from her past. An ability to be a good orator, a very strong and a cutting edge teacher comes from this Ketu in the 5th house in Taurus. Again, when we talk about the houses, and I said the 9th house needs to be strong. She has her Venus in the 9th house. The Venus can be debilitated but nevertheless, it's a strong Venus, which is again aspected by Mars, giving her a strong sense of logic. She has a debilitated and a Digbali sun. This will also be reflective. This is something that I've taken up here very strongly because it will be reflective in the D10 chart. This D10 chart that I show you, where she has Venus and Jupiter in the second house aspecting a Digbali sun, making her very authoritative in her subject, in her way of teaching. But there's a lot of giving and compassion also that we can see, because the sun is aspected by Venus and Jupiter and by no malefic. So no matter how authoritative she is, she would always want to do things properly and for the good of her students. As I told you, people, the ninth house is also strong in the D1 chart, and in the D10 chart, it is aspected by the Lagna Lord of the D10, Mars. So shows a strong ability to earn as a teacher. Mars, the ninth Lord, is also aspected by Jupiter in the D10 chart. We can take up the chart of Rabindranath Tagore. Is said to be the teacher par excellence. Let us see the signs. Let us see the signs first. We see that the Cancer and the Leo sign are occupied. Cancer is occupied by exalted Jupiter. Leo is occupied by Saturn, which shows a strong ability to work hard. And the sign of Rahu and the planet Rahu is sitting in his Sagittarius sign, which talks about him being a different kind of a teacher. The teachers of that time and him, when compared, were poles apart. Now, let us take up the houses of the D1. In the house of the D1, we see the second house is very strong because it has an exalted sun, which is occupied by both important planets, which is accompanied by both important planets, Mercury and Venus, showing a strong knowledge and yet a sense of compassion and the ability to deliver as clearly as possible to his or her, to his students. Okay, and we see the fourth house. Then we see a strong connect of the ninth Lord Mars with the fourth house, and the fifth house has an exalted Jupiter. What more could be asked from the teacher? The ninth house is also aspected by Jupiter. The Lagna is also aspected by Jupiter. I don't need to go any further than that, but because D10 charts are important when we talk about profession, just look at the D10. The D10 itself is, the Lagna of the D10 itself is in Sagittarius, which talks about you being a great teacher as possible. Sun sitting in the Lagna, as authoritative as a teacher as can be. And when we talk about the fifth house of the D10, well, the fifth Lord is sitting in the seventh house with Mercury in its own house. And it's like, as a teacher on a public platform, I can say, and I can be great as a teacher. Jupiter is sitting with Venus and Saturn in the 12th house, showing an ability to give. As I told you, if there's a 12th Venus, it shows that you can give. If it's accompanied by Saturn, it shows that your ability to do hard work is great. We'll not miss out on the nakshatras. The two nakshatras that I did tell you are very important. When we see into the D1, we see that his moon is in Revati, teacher par excellence, and Uttar Bhadra, a very calm, collected, and a very strong teacher when we find his Lagna Nakshatra there. So it's very important for us to check these nakshatras also. In fact, if you look at his Sun and Venus, they're both in Bharani. So there is a very strong nakshatra connect when we check those things out also. Do write into us and do let us know how you found this video. Until we meet with you again, stay safe.
Please hit the bell icon for fresh updates. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on the videos, and please subscribe to our channel.